thank you for joining us. Yes, it's been a long January. It's about another 6 months to go left in January, isn't there? But we look ahead to sunnier climes and holiday planning begins.
Travel journalist Tom Bratnock has been looking through his crystal ball and has predicted the top new destinations that Irish holidaymakers will be flocking to in 2019. Good morning to
How's it
you,
going?
Tom.
Buongiorno.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, great.
It is a new year and so many cities and parts of the world that we should be exploring. So you're going to take us through what are going to be big trends this year.
Yeah, so every year kind of brings fresh routes and kind of trending destinations. So the first one we said we'd go for is Dallas. I was actually hoping you'd be wearing your Stetsons.
Yeah.
No, not quite. It's a Stetson with corks hanging out of it.
So there's a new route from Dublin with American Airlines to Dallas-Fort Worth kicking off next summer. So I think a lot of Irish people, when they want to make their first trip to the States, they gravitate towards the East Coast or West Coast.
We go to the obvious
They'll do
spots,
New
don't we?
York or LA, and somehow like Texas, as amazing as it is, kind of gets a bit lost in the middle.
You've been there, Simon, haven't you?
I could not recommend it higher. I spent a couple of weeks there filming years ago. We visited and filmed around the Dealey Plaza, which is where JFK was assassinated, with the whole book depository tour. We stayed in the hotel that JFK stayed in the night before he was assassinated. Amazing. But then we went out. We went to, because there's two main cities, obviously Dallas and Fort Worth.
Exactly, yeah.
We went out to cowboy ranches. 2 hours that way was snow, and 2 hours that way was sunshine. Food is amazing. It's America on a plate. You know, you don't have to go to, as you say, to the East Coast to get that experience.
Exactly.
And I'd imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a little bit cheaper on the pockets than the East Coast.
I was actually checking this out. So flights are about $5.60 return, which is a little bit more than what you'd pay for an East Coast flight. Yeah. But the average hotel room in Dallas is about $160 a night. Yeah. Whereas if you're getting a place in New York or Boston, you'd be well into the $200s.
Yeah, and even paying $12 for a pint in Manhattan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we went to some great bars in Dallas, just out walking, you know,
it's
some great bars.
Like
you can have a great night.
For like $4 or $5.
Well, we didn't have any of them. we had sparkling water in one of the bars.
Too exotic.
And I think I had my waddy in one of them. Yeah. But it's an amazing place.
Yeah, it's outstanding. So, like you say, Dallas is it's a world-class city. That sixth-floor museum is incredible.
Incredible.
They have really good art galleries, really nice. It's kind of a downtown, and then it's kind of centred by sprawling kind of individual neighbourhoods that like are really
and go out and visit
out.
South Fork.
Yeah,
go and
South
visit the ranch.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
think it's like 25 miles.
I take it that's a tourist experience now, is it?
Yeah, so nowadays it's actually run by, it's a convention centre, and a Christian radio station operates out of it, and I think the Republican Tea Parties have gatherings there from time to time, but it's amazing to see it. But there's still a lot more to...
Oh, yeah.
Fort Worth is just 30 miles down the road, and you can go on rodeos there and taste like Texas barbecue, which is really like outstanding.
Oh, baby.
If you're going to thinking of maybe like becoming a vegan, just go to Dallas and like one final blowout.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Before you turn.
Exactly. It's really something else. And then they have a very the honky tonk kind of culture there, which is their kind of a country kind of nightclub vibe. And there's a colossal nightclub in Fort Worth called Billy Bob's. They're kind of all of kind of the
we
central
weren't there.
Texas. Did you go?
We weren't there.
You weren't
we
there?
Weren't there, no.
Okay.
I swear
it's
we
almost
weren't
like
there.
maybe like a Texan Copperface Jack's. Like very iconic, where everyone goes to meet and
stuff.
Yeah, but
it's an amazing place.
Really, really authentic and not as touristy as the likes of you won't get any Times Square moments in Dallas or.
But so staying in America then, but going down south then, Georgia.
We're going to
We're
Georgia.
going to the country.
Where are we going?
We ain't going to Georgia.
Where are we going?
To Georgia, the country Georgia.
I thought we were staying in America. Well, I could go to Georgia and talk like that, couldn't I?
I know.
It's different Georgia chicken.
If you want to.
It's different, slightly different.
I think it causes marketing problems too for the country.
I'm sure it does. Yeah. And where do I get my barbecue? What?
Airport issues.
Talk about Georgia and Europe.
Georgia, I guess Eastern Europe. 15 or 20 years ago, we would have gone. Prague and kind of Bratislava were such different and out there destinations, but now they're really like amazing cities, but they're not as different as what they once were. So Eastern Europe is kind of pushing further east and east. And so Georgia, the ex-Soviet country, it's about, you have to fly with Turkish Airlines through Istanbul.
Okay.
So
There's no direct flights.
there's no direct flights yet. I'm sure it's getting
Someone's
there.
working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the Caucasus mountainous region of kind of by the Black Sea, and it's becoming really, really popular. Tbilisi is its capital city.
The Black Sea is a huge holiday destination.
Yeah, big time in the summer. It's like the Med. Yeah. And Tbilisi is, people might know it from like, Republic of Ireland.
Yes,
kind of
that's
soccer
right,
fixtures
yeah.
over
Yes,
the years.
exactly.
And you expect maybe a kind of a, sterile
Cold.
communist city, but it's really gorgeous. A bit like kind of New Orleans versus Istanbul. This beautiful kind of balconied old town, and has a really cool spa, hammam, bath culture because it's built on hot springs.
Yeah.
So you can go to sulfur baths and get like amazing massages and all the treatments for a song. And also George is very,
Because it's very much part of their culture.
exactly, yeah.
Right.
And it's very, very affordable. Like you can rent out your own private baths for 30 euros, and that would be for 4 or 5 of your friends as well.
Okay, so before we run out of time, then one last place, Sicily.
Sicily,
Hugely
So-
popular destination.
hugely, and I think a lot of Irish people, they've been to Lake Garda, maybe they've been to Rome and Florence, and they want to try maybe the islands now. So there's a new flight to Cagliari in Sardinia, and also there's great routes to Palermo in Sicily. With Ryanair.
Yeah.
And so Sicily is so huge. It's the size of Munster. You can like really get off the beaten track and go down to places like Giardini Naxos, which is a popular tourist
Corleone.
resort. Corleone, yeah. Eat some cannoli.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also, go on mafia tours. Which, I mean, you're not driven around by the mob. They're usually just kind of local, kind of the resistant movements.
But Palermo itself is an amazing city as well.
Yeah, really kind of gritty and
Had such a terrible
amazing.
reputation, like up until, and maybe into the early 90s.
Yeah.
But now they've, things have calmed down slightly and they've opened up the tourist kind of end of it.
Amazing architecture.
It's an amazing city.
Yeah, also
food.
And of course, Sicily has Mount Etna, which is only erupting over Christmas. That's a real spectacle to see.
Of course. And I noticed with all of these destinations, you're recommending Airbnb.
Well, I mean,
It's
as
just
an
a good
alternative,
option, isn't
it really
it?
is. And I think, particularly for some place like Sicily, I mean, it's nice to stay in the hotels by the coast, but I think, the Italians kind of invented agri-tourism.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to drive in, like, into the kind of the olive farms and the campagna, as they call it, and maybe find a nice villa on Airbnb, and that kind of allows
And you really immerse yourself
you
then.
go to the markets, and it's kind of more like La Bella Vita than where you staying in. A bit of a, a
La
mix.
Bella Figura.
You just make me want a holiday, Tom.
And maybe next time we'll do Georgia in America.
Georgia. Savannah. Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you,
Good
as
to see you guys.
always. Right after the break, formal office styles for both him and her. Fashion is up after this quick break.